I went to the site. I saw that you have your banner on your site that, it's non-cookie, whatever. I want to know what it is. And I want to know if this is something that I want to implement. And this is something that other people should implement because, well, I know you're passionate about cookies and stuff. But,
cookies, lack thereof.
Lack thereof. Well, I like cookies, at least the ones you eat, but, not the ones, I always decline the ones on websites. So hit me up. Tell me about it.
Yeah. Before I get into that, how mean of you to post the ice cream thing, I'm like, what the heck? Now I want to have ice cream,
I don't want to tell you, I had like half a tub of Ben and Jerry's chocolate brownie, fudge brownie ice cream for breakfast with the last small sliver of layer of dulce de leche ice cream. Like that was my breakfast. Shh, don't tell.
Dulce de leche, you like that stuff? Oh my God. Oh, it doesn't get in the house. You do have a cookie banner on your site, right?
I do have a cookie banner, though I probably don't collect any cookies. That's not actually true. I lie because I have Google Analytics.
Okay. And have you seen a drop in traffic since you put the cookie banner on?
I don't know because I put the cookie banner on pretty much when I just started. And now I'm seeing a rise in traffic, because I'm driving more traffic towards my site and I'm building it. But I would be very happy not to have that accept decline offer and just to say, you know what? Here. Go ahead. Use my site. It's cookieless. I'm GDPR compliant. I'm CCPA compliant. I have all the letters of the alphabet.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah. So what has happened to most businesses is some started a bit late, but cookie banner went up and they're seeing less traffic in Google Analytics. That's what happened because people are not accepting their cookies, so they cannot track, right? In terms of the drop, from what I've seen, because I've been, for 4 months in this space, from what I've seen, it could be anywhere between 20 to 70% drop in traffic in Google Analytics, right? Wow. So there's a whole part of traffic that you're not actually seeing. Now, several things come into play here. How your cookie banner is actually set up, is it invasive or not? In the sense that, does it allow you to not accept and still consume the content, right? That's good and bad, right? Because then you'll never track anything. No one's ever going to accept. And it also has a lot to do with the type of traffic you're attracting and how strong your brand is, right? So let's say in your case, your traffic is mostly coming from LinkedIn, just for the sake of the example. These are people that are probably more, they're used to your content. They like your content. They want to know more about your services. So they would be totally okay with accepting cookies, right? No, there's this like trust thing.
In theory, yeah.
Yeah. So because if you think of the opposite example is you're driving cold traffic to a page, they've never heard of your brand. They're not going to accept your cookies as easily.
Right. I don't accept cookies if I can avoid it.
Unless it's, well, even if it is invasive, they'll go through the trouble to most of them to actually reject all, right? So that's, that's what happens. So when solutions that actually allow you to track 100% of your traffic that are cookieless, right? So whether or not people accept your cookies, you're still tracking 100% of your traffic. So what I've learned so far is that there are solutions not for the target that Seal is going after, because you don't get data like per source, per medium, per campaign, per keyword, which is really important for someone that's running Google Ads, for example. Right? They, that's how we came up with the new headline of track 100% of your conversions per UTM parameter. Conversions, revenue, ROAS, so your return on ad spend. It gives you the cost of every single transaction, except like all the information that you would expect from a good cookieful analytics tool, right? But cookieless. So that's data. From a data point of view, I think we've got in the cookieless space, we've got something really strong. From a privacy point of view, also, Seal chose to comply with stuff that's not even out yet, to be super privacy, right?
Yeah, and so you don't ahead.
Exactly. And so you don't get like metrics like bounce rate, you don't get pages per session, you don't get sessions per country. Why? Because it doesn't measure people, it doesn't measure the journey. It doesn't know anything about the journey. It just literally measures page views.
Interesting. Because in a previous company when I was working, we loved to see the journey. Like, and I think you talked about this in one of I was listening to an audio show that you were on. I don't remember who it was with, about privacy and cookies and whatever. And
Avishai and Servan.
Right. So we could correlate. I mean, if I did the work, it was manual work at the time, but if I did the work, I could correlate between a subscriber to my site to what they were doing on Google Analytics. It was not private. I knew exactly where they were clicking. I knew their Google ID, which meant that theoretically, if I sold that information, I mean, we didn't, but in theory, you could sell that information, and that information would be worth a lot of money because the Google ID is the same Google ID across the board. So there really is no privacy with the Google pages and whatever. But so here's another question. Well, two questions. So number one, who's the target audience for Seal? Because you said it wasn't for small business owners like me. Obviously, it's like expensive. And I also don't need it because I'm not converting. Well, me personally, I don't use my website to convert for revenue and whatever. I'm not tracking that. And so who's the target audience? And second, how do you deal with Google Apps, Google Workspace is all free. I mean, it's a freemium type model and it works for them because a lot of people work within Google and then they go, oh, wait, I have to upgrade. Boom. Now, their free plan is actually worth a lot in all of their apps, right? So how does Seal come with that and say, well, we're not going to give you the path. We're not going to give you bounce rates. We're not going to give you, this is what we're not going to give you. And we cost a lot of money, but come work with us.
Yeah. So to answer your first question, it's mostly performance managers, right? So mostly performance managers and also, corporate companies that do run campaigns like newsletters and all that. So it's not so much ads, but yeah. So they like that extra information. But you'll understand when I answer the second one, which is other solutions are pure substitutes to Google Analytics. Seal, from what I've been seeing from the customers, the type of people that are interested, that are coming, asking for demos, that are signing up for the free trial, that are actually paying, is they're using it as complementary.
Ooh.
Right?
So they're not really getting the benefit of cookieless because they still have the cookies. If it's complementary, they're doing both. So they still have the cookies, basically testing it out, seeing the benefits of it. And then if and when that whole e-privacy thing comes to play, then they can say, okay, I'll just turn off Google Analytics and then I still have Seal in place with the data.
That last part definitely could be true, but the first part, you can keep going with Seal metrics for a really long time, because if your Google Analytics is only showing you a part of your traffic, it's very hard most times to optimize ad campaigns.
Interesting.
So let's say just for one, and it's one of the latest testimonials that I asked for. It's a specific case of someone who runs Google Ads campaigns for clients, and in one specific with one specific account, he was seeing in Google Analytics 1 conversion. And in Seal metrics, 9 conversions.
Wow.
Now we're working. Now we're talking, right?
Wow.
So he needs to sort of have those two to compare.
Interesting. Well, Google search just sent me an email today. Every month I get an email from them and I see my stats go up. Now my stats are like, they went up from 30 to 70 to 80 clicks per month, which is like in search. And that's pretty good. And my name is like in point number 2, somebody searches for my name. I'm like in the second spot, which is, and my website, like my name with my website, not my name with my LinkedIn profile. So I'm actually pretty happy with that. But yeah, it's interesting. I always look at these numbers like, oh, nice. Okay. Delete. But
and then keep going. Yeah. I mean, it's nice to sort of see where they're coming from, especially if you still have Google Analytics. You've switched to GA4?
I have. Okay. So the Search Console does not work with GA4, which is really ridiculous. But I just tried to make that connection this morning, and they're like, well, this is the GA4 property. So you can't, because I just moved it. The minute they started, I said, I'm not collecting data in regular. I just started because I don't know why I didn't connect Google Analytics from day one to my website. I was like, I don't need the data. I was like, whatever. And then as I started driving traffic towards my website, I decided to connect to a property, and then I already did it as a GA4 property. I didn't even create the previous one. So again, the minute I saw it on your site, that Seal thing, I was like, why would I not use that? Like that was my thinking, because I hate cookies. Well, I like eating chocolate chip cookies and oatmeal cookies. I have to be very careful with that. But, I hate cookies on a website. Even my cookie banner basically says this is the recipe. Seriously, this is like my cookie banner is all about real cookies. But I always decline cookies when I go to a website. So, it's interesting that there are alternatives out there and we just don't realize it. And then, if you're making a podcast, this is interesting. Okay, so this will bring us back on topic. We were off tangent up until now. Let's get back on topic. So should a podcast have a website? And if it does have a website, does it need tracking? Are you interested in knowing, like, how are you monetizing the podcast, if at all? And then if you are monetizing it, are you doing it through links that you put in the description, and then you want to track who's clicking on those links? Are you using UTM codes, in which case something like again, it's like a big thing of how do you track who's doing what on your podcast website?
I think Joanna,
I know what you're talking about.
Right? Yeah, she did. She did a great post on podcast to the page on your website, or on your company website, or as a separate one, right? And I really enjoyed that post because it gets you thinking. Not do you need a podcast website in the first place, right? But if we were to address that, I think if the podcast is, for example, videos that is shared on YouTube, for example, not even Shopify, like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all that. If you're really pushing it on YouTube, then there's already a platform there. You already have a channel that's like a page, right? To begin with.
Yeah, but okay, that's interesting. Let's talk about YouTube for a minute as the platform. If you get past a number of subscribers and past a number of hours watched per month, you get to be on the partner program, and you get to monetize your videos, which is putting ads that I have a problem with, because a lot of these ads are not going to be right for my target audience, and I wouldn't want them to see that. So that's one discussion. The second thing is, if you're on YouTube and you have 30,000 subscribers, people are going to call you up and say, I'd like to sponsor your next episode. Just give me a shout out, whatever. And they'll pay you money for that. And then you have to decide for each one, okay, am I willing to work with this sponsor or not, depending on your values and what they're selling, et cetera, et cetera. So like if this was me in my own channel, and something like ClickUp or Asana or Monday said to me, hey, we're going to pay you just to review our product. If I can say the real truth, I don't mind. If I have to say I like a product when I really don't, like if I had to say I like to ClickUp when I really don't, that's not going to happen.
Good thing you do.
No, I don't like ClickUp. I don't like ClickUp at all.
Well, there are certain things that you do like about ClickUp.
That's right. Okay, so this is a great story. I was working as a manager in a bookstore, and every month we had to sell a specific book. And there was a contest between the different stores in the chain who sold the most copies of that book. And oftentimes the book was just terrible. It's just a terrible book. And one of my employees came and he goes, I can't sell this book. This book sucks. There's absolutely nothing I can sell about this book. So I said to him, okay, take 15 minutes, sit down, have a coffee, and tell me 5 good things you found about the book, because there's nothing that you can't find 5 good things about, right? And he came back and goes, the font is really nice. It's readable. So you can find nice things. It's not necessarily what they want you to find. So yes, I can find more than 5 things that I like about ClickUp, but it's just not my tool of choice. But yes.
Yeah.
So just coming back to the topic, back from off tangent, coming back to the topic at hand. When I decide if I want just my show to be on YouTube, like a podcast to be on YouTube or on its own website, first of all, I can embed YouTube on the website. It's still going to count as the number of views. So it's going to up the numbers on YouTube. Comments and everything, that's already set up in YouTube. So I would definitely just stay there. But the added bonus of having the added value of having it on your own website is you can actually control, first of all, what people are clicking on, because they don't have those recommendations on the right or on the left or on the bottom, however you're watching YouTube. So they're not going to see the recommendations, and then you can control the environment in which they're watching it. And that will also enable you to put, recommended next videos that are right for you, for the path that you want them to take, which you can also do within YouTube with cards and whatever. But finally, and I think this is the huge thing, if you do it on your own website, and I'm not saying it has to be a specific website for the podcast, but any clip that you do on your own website as a blog post, if you use a tool like Type Studio, I don't know if the script has this yet or not, but you can have an interactive transcript at the bottom. And I love the interactive transcript because, now I can't listen to a YouTube video at less than 1.75%, like less than 1 speed, right?
Yeah.
You know that. I listen to your sped up clips at a sped up speed, right? So it's just whatever. So
by the way, real quick, I was on a call this morning with a great creator, and he said, you know how I initially started following you, the first thing I found was those, the speedy videos, the 2x speed, and you're the only one that puts out 2x speed videos. And then he got on a call with me and realized that I don't speak that way.
You don't speak at 2 speed. Oh, wow.
No, I do not.